I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws. I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws, 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 I just wanna keep it laws. Obedience to love of God. 1 John 5:3. The scripture said it ain't hard. I renewed my mind and learned the lies I was taught. Yeah, my light gon' shine, no darkness, no doubt. Read Romans 12:2. Yeah, that's how King walk. I'm more than ready to die. I done took the sting out. My heart is so clean now. Yeah, I done got the beam out. I deliver the word of truth. I ain't serving bean pies on my own understanding. Yeah, you know I lean out. I'm friends up, I got tassels on when I hit the scene now. I remember getting high, faithfully twisting a lie. Now it's no drugs, I fiend for spiritual things now. I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws. I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud. I don't hang no more, I don't slay no more, don't set claim no more, I ain't the same, oh no. I used to pull kick those, give me my Debo, don't cross the line, free throw. My tolerance was zero, but now I'm keeping these laws. I adhere to the Lord, best skill with the sword, chop false doctrine yet law. You wanna be victorious, send your life around Torah. Take heed to the prophets, for judge and destroy you. Y'all really think it's sweet? I promise God ain't sleep. Read Deuteronomy Chapter 5 in the GNT. Yeah, the Lord show mercy, but he tired of you playing. Instead of giving him your all, you just do what you can. I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws, I just wanna keep his laws. I don't care what the world think, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud, I just wanna keep it loud.
And it shall come to pass that if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
My people dying, it's a lot of crying. It's like all love is gone, everything going wrong. Brother against brother, no fathers in the home. Betrayed by so-called friends, and you feel so alone. Where do we go from here? It's like the same old thing. Traveled this road before, don't wanna see pain no more. It's a cold world, very few obey God's commands, for we know the earth is given into wicked hands. If my people called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face and pray, it will be okay. Turn from all your wicked ways, obey the word and have faith. I will heal the land, uphold you with my right hand.
First off, all praises to my life source. I heard this beat, it made me wanna tell my life story. Cause we all under these curses, so you relate to it. But I decided to speak strictly about our current goings, because iniquity abounds, love wax cold. It used to be even in wickedness you had a goal, but love of money and love of self became the main goal. Behave ourselves as if we ain't sheep of the same fold. We need each other more than ever now, if you ain't know. It's about to get worse than it's ever been, this world cold. To enter the kingdom we gotta endure and go through much tribulation. But before we get to that point, we gotta master the basics. Keeping the laws ain't an option, and you can't pick the ones you wanna. It's sad that that's the top of we folks who claim they Yasharala. We can't help the lost sheep while we got visible problems. Until you fully submit, you ain't giving glory and honor.
Father, give me strength to fight the battles that I have inside. In your secret place I cry, according to my flesh I die. Your Holy Spirit gives me life, I'll be a living sacrifice. Purify me with your fire, tired of going through generational curses. Teach me your commandments so that I can be perfect. Forgive me my transgressions and deliver me from evil. Abba, Yah, please take away the curses of your people. If my people called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face and pray, it will be okay. Turn from all your wicked ways, obey the word and have faith. I will heal the land, uphold you with my right hand, yeah.
For I wish that I myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the services of God and the promises. It's time to turn back to Yah so he can turn back to us and restore these curses back to blessings.
Shalom, family. One of the most important things is for us to be holy. Now, what does that mean? That means we have to separate ourselves from the world and build unity and community. Grab yourself a shirt that expresses that message, and let's not just talk about it, let's live it.
Ain't no free will, it's all predestinated. From every death to every child brought forth through copulation. For the spouse that you choose to your current occupation, you either receive mercy or Yahweh's indignation. I can recollect on times that I could have been dead, caught lacking, no strap, I had a knife instead. Played it cool, he wanted to kill me for how I used to move. Had to match his energy, portray that I was strapped too. But inside I'm praying to God, hoping he don't shoot. Then I'm whooping, telling him I know what he won't do. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22 and 14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they. Shalom, 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 family, shalom.
Hey, peace, King, peace, family.
First, we want to start off, as we always do, by giving all praise, honor, glory to the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, and we do so by Shem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. That's in the name of his only begotten Son, who most around the world know is Jesus Christ. And I'm your brother Hurt, and I have with me my brother Aaron. And tonight's lesson is the beginning of the series we're just beginning tonight. That's called Law and Order, the Balance of the People. So tonight is titled Law and Order, the Balance of the People. Deuteronomy Chapter 1. And tonight, the lesson will be brought forth by Brother Aaron. And all praise to the Most High for us being able to join together. And for those of you that are watching, that are in good health, and the Most High has been keeping safe and strong throughout these times that we're living in, all praise to the Most High for that. And we pray that this lesson will be edifying to all. If you haven't, just like the comment says on the screen, Shalom family, thank you for helping us grow the kingdom of the Most High by liking, commenting, and sharing the video. please make sure you do that. Please make sure you comment, make sure you like and you share, because it helps to trigger the algorithm to show it to other people. It says, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on future lessons. And we really appreciate everyone that does share and like and comment, because we understand that, we can't do this by ourselves, and that it's an overall effort, for us to continue to usher in the kingdom. And we got to do our due diligence as well as you all. So we appreciate you. All praise to the Most High. Ak, you got anything?
Yeah, man. All praises to the Most High, of course, first and foremost. And peace and blessings to everyone that's tuned in, everyone that was able to catch us live, and for the folks that are catching us afterwards, peace and blessings to you as well. We appreciate you. And just like always, make sure to like the video / heart the video if you're on the Facebook platform. Utilize the YouTube link that I furnished. Oh, I guess it didn't go through. But utilize the YouTube link that I furnished within the chat, or that I will furnish in the chat momentarily. If you're able to share it, make sure to utilize the @highlight feature. And then on the YouTube platform, make sure to like the video, make sure to share the video, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, and all of those things. We greatly appreciated it. We appreciate it. It's not something that we take for granted. And yeah, as a brother mentioned, we kicking off this Torah class, and it goes by the name of Law and Order: The Balance of the People. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think this will be very much helpful for our people. And before I go any further, you got anything you want to bring out, King?
Ready to get to it. All praise to the Most High. Excited about this series. It's always good to go into the laws of the Most High, because you're always going to be able to find something that's going to benefit you. So all praise to the Most High.
That's a fact. Kind of all praises. So, and as a brother mentioned, this is a new series that we plan to come forth with, consistently. So be on the lookout for these. Make sure you're studying yourself. Being as the Bereans, the Bereans, they studied the law and the prophets. So you have to, if you want to be like the Bereans and study to see if those things are so, then you have to study what the Bereans studied. But yeah, just to kick it off, peace and blessings, family. It's your brother Aaron Jesheron. And first off, I'm gonna start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, who is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I want to acknowledge the Messiah, the Son of God, Yahushua. And as the brother Herb mentioned, the lesson tonight is Law and Order. And the book we're going to go into first is Deuteronomy, the first chapter. And we're going to go into the book of Deuteronomy, and we're going to, kick it off with the chapter momentarily. But before I do so, I wanted to actually give a little bit of background to the book of Deuteronomy, because I think there's some interesting points and facts about Deuteronomy that I think a lot of people overlook. But knowing these things, it actually helps you fully understand the purpose of the book of Deuteronomy, and also what's going on within the book of Deuteronomy, and why you see certain things repeated and why you don't see certain things repeated, etc. So first thing I want to show is first thing I want to point out is when you read throughout the book of Deuteronomy, and we'll read it within the first few verses, but it's set within the 40th year, since we came, out of Egypt and we're in the wilderness. And it's specifically set within the 11th month of that 40th year. And historically speaking, it's dated between 1203 to 1213 BC. That's before Christ. And real quick, before I move forward, I want to read this excerpt. Let me see if I could post this in the chat so everybody can see it, so y'all can see what I'm reading. Yeah, this might. Oh, look. It actually went through. All praises. So, God, what was I gonna say? So it didn't catch everything. It cut off at some points, but I could post the rest of it. But if you could you just read what's been posted?
Con. The purpose of Deuteronomy is to summarize and renew the covenant in preparation for entering into the land. In the process, it organizes laws in a way that the spirit behind the Ten Commandments will be understood. It is the charter document of Israel that emphasizes that there is one God, one people of God, one sanctuary, and one law.
God. And just to cite the source, this is from a survey of the Old Testament by Andrew E. Hill and John H. Walton, and this is on page 228. Just to cite the source. But in simplicity, the book of Deuteronomy's purpose, it was basically to summarize the content of the covenant and to prepare our people, for entry to the promised land. That's the point of Deuteronomy. So, as we read more throughout the book of Deuteronomy and the law in general, you'll see what's repeated, what was said before, and certain commands that are referenced in prior books of the law. And and this is again important because the book of Deuteronomy is full of reiterations and summarization. So, you're going to see things that come before it, like Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, etc. And you're going to see, oh, well, certain things are there, and then certain things are reiterated, but maybe paraphrased, quote unquote. The reason for that is because Deuteronomy is building off of what was already given, and they're giving you the standard in which we are to conduct ourselves when we come into the land. All right, but all praises to the Most High. You got any points before we crack it off?
La.
Con. All right, so we're gonna kick it off with Deuteronomy, the first chapter, and I think we're gonna go with the KJV today, man. Shout out to the KJV. And if you can, just read for me. Deuteronomy 1-3.
God. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizab. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according to all that the Lord had given him in commandment unto them.
Con. So first, this gives you the setting where Moses he describes the speaking of the words to Israel. And basically it says that they were beyond the Jordan in the wilderness, in Arabah, across from Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, Dizahav, and you can read about these particular locations throughout the whole book of Numbers, the 33rd chapter, because it actually chronicles the journey that us, the children of Israel, went throughout the wilderness. And I want to show this to y'all on the screen. Let me get this over here. All right, because this time I got the maps pulled up, and I want to just give y'all a visual of what this looks like. So where Moses is speaking this, I have it, roughly circled. So he would have been in this area. And as you can see, you see the land of Canaan over here. You see Ammon, Moab, etc. But Moses would have been speaking within this area, and we would have been close, or setting up to enter within the promised land. So just giving you a visual of where Moses is saying these things and where this is taking place. But yeah, a matter of fact, can you read verses 2-3 one more time?
God. there are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according to all that Yahweh had given him in commandment unto them.
Gone. So as we can see, especially in verse 2, it says that Mount Horeb / Sinai, because a lot of times you'll see them interchanged. It said that it was an 11-day journey, all the way up until, or from where they ended up at, or that's what it should have been, right? But as you read within the book of Numbers 13 through 14, instead of that short 11-day journey, it took them 40 years to enter into the promised land. And you can find a specific account within the book of Numbers, specifically chapter 14. But the reason why they had to take 40 years instead of, like 40 days or 11 days or whatever the case may be, was because of their unbelief, specifically of the spies, right? And I plan to go into it a little bit later because the chapter is going to address it more directly. But just setting y'all up, that's the reason as to why it wasn't an 11-day journey, but it was a 40-year journey, right? But we got any points, King, before I move on?
Beautiful edification so far, King.
God, all praises. All right, so we can continue on. You can read 3 through 4.
God. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according unto all that Yahweh had given him in commandment unto them, after he had slain Sihon the king of the Amorites, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth in Edrei.
God. So in verse 3, again, as I mentioned before, it specifies that they're in the 40th year, and then it says on the first day of the 11th month. So it specifies the time period in which this is happening, and it shows that Moses spoke to all the people of Israel according to all that the Most High had commanded him or given him in commandment to them, after Sihon, king of the Amorites, and in Heshbon, and then also Og, king of Bashan, in Ashtaroth, and Edrei, in Edrei, Salakia, right? But you can read about this particular account all through Numbers 21. I'm not going to belabor the point too heavy, but I do want to touch on Numbers 21 because there are some interesting points to touch on. And again, we're going to go through the Torah in and of itself. So we're going to double back to a lot of these accounts, Lord willing, at least. So if you can, good brother, just read for me Numbers 21 and read verses 21 through 24.
God. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through thy land. We will not turn aside into field or into vineyard. We will not drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed our border. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel into the wilderness and came to Jahaz, and he fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and possessed his land from the Arnon unto the Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong.
So right here we see that our people, we were trying to pass through through this particular territory, but we were being prevented by the people of Sihon, which are the Amorites. They descend from Ham, they're akin to the Canaanites. And it says that they fought against us. Then in verse 24, it said that we smote them and then took over their land from Arnon to Jabbok, which encompassed territory of the Amorites, that are mentioned within question. And this this territory spanned all the way up until the border of the children of Ammon. So we didn't take over any of the children of the Ammonites, because as you read within the book of Deuteronomy, it said that we weren't to even battle them because we weren't going to win against them. But we did take over these particular peoples, because the Lord, he allowed it and he was with us within this particular battle. But this particular point is actually really important. As a matter of fact, there's a little bit more in the chapter. And real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read verse 25. It says, and Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites in Heshbon and in the towns thereof. Right. So it says we took over these cities, and by this time we dwelt in those cities and towns. Right. And this is important, because this shows that by the time of the 40th year, before we even entered into the promised land entirely, there were sections of Israelites that established themselves in Amorite territories and built up towns and cities. And when you read throughout the rest of the chapter, you'll see details, of the battles mentioned in regard to Heshbon, Og, etc. Right? Just read all of Numbers 21 in total. But, this is going to be something that we actually, Lord willing, we address just ad nauseum. You're going to be like, man, I just keep going through the Torah. Well, that's good. We need to go through the Torah. You understand? But you got any points, King, before I move on?
All praises. And Shalom, Princess of Zion.
Kind of all praises. All right, so we're gonna jump back to Deuteronomy chapter 5, Shalaki chapter 1, and you can read verses 5 through 8.
On this side Jordan, in the land of Moab, began Moses to declare this law, saying, Yahweh our power spake unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you and take your journey, and go to the mount of the Amorites, and into all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the vale, and in the south, and by the seaside, to the land of the Canaanites, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them and to their seed after them.
So Moses beyond the Jordan, as you read throughout these 3 verses, beyond the Jordan of the land of Moab, explain this law or instruction. When you go into that word for law, it's just the word Torah, which means instruction. And basically, he explained it by saying that the Most High spoke to us at Sinai or at Horeb, saying, we stayed long enough at this mount, head to the hill or the hill country of the Amorites and those round about them in Arabah. And then it says in the lowland, in the south, when you look at it, and I looked at this in different translations as well, but it says in the lowland and in the south and by the sea coast and the land of the Canaanites, Lebanon, the great river Euphrates. And then it says the Most High said, he placed the land before us, for us to go into it and possess the land that he swore to our ancestors, which would be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you can read that within the book of Genesis, specifically chapters 15, chapter 17, chapter 22, chapter 28, etc. You can read it in a myriad of places within the book of Genesis, but we're going to grab one witness just to actually show this on the paper. So let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 22. We're going to start at verse 15. And you can read verses 15 on down to 17.
And the angel of Yahweh called unto Abraham a second time out of heaven, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith Yahweh, because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, And in multiplying, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies.
Gone. So in context, this is after Abraham was tempted, and you see within the chapter he was willing to slay his son. And the Most High, and obviously he stopped, he doesn't slay Isaac. But after this point, the Most High tells him, because of this, he would bless Abraham and multiply his seed as the stars of heaven and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and that his seed would possess the gate of his enemies. And again, this thematically, as far as his enemies are concerned, this is referencing the Canaanites, right? Because even if if someone wants to say, well, where did Abraham have enemies? Just read throughout the book of Genesis, one place, and I'll just grab this, right? Because I know, some people, they might not actually know. They might not have read it before, but it's good to go through these things and actually just show it just on the paper. When you read this, Genesis 13:7, it says, and there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. So we see that there was actually beef between these particular parties, even dealing with Lot and Abraham's, people that herded their cattle, and then also the Canaanites and Perizzites were actually round about them, and they would have had issues when you read within the context as well. And also you read a chapter earlier, and you'll be able to see this context, and then even when Abraham travels within these particular lands, dealing with different Hamitic peoples, we see that he's even vexed by those peoples. One account would be the king of Egypt. He almost took that brother's wife, right? But that's just one point. But jumping back to Deuteronomy chapter 1, we see that this is detailing that we're going into and possessing the land that our fathers were promised. Right, so that's the point. But you got anything you want to add before I move on?
You speaking well.
Kind of all praises. So if you can, good brother, just read for me verses 9 through 11.
Khan. And I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. Yahweh, your power, hath multiplied you. And behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude. Yahweh, your power of your fathers, make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he hath promised you.
So as you read throughout the particular verses, Moses, he reminds the children of Israel, that he told them plainly he was unable to bear them by himself. And this right here is Moses recognizing the growth of the nation, just as far as number is concerned. And he's able to perceive the responsibility that comes with it. And he even goes on to acknowledge that, the Most High, he's already, multiplied them. Again, that's part of the promise that was to our fathers, as you read in the book, as we just read in the book of Genesis 22. And again, this was even after many of our people were judged and we died in the wilderness, as you see throughout the Torah, and then also as you'll see within the book of Deuteronomy, the first few chapters. But again, all of these points, make sure y'all keep in mind and recognize, because you're gonna keep seeing these things. Like, it's a whole lot of quote unquote covenant language. Like, you'll see as the stars of heaven, multitude, etc. But all of those things, they tie together all the way back to the book of Genesis with our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You got any points, King, before I move on?
Just like y'all, when we look at this verses 9 through 11, this shows how much wisdom that Moses has, and also how much love and care he has also, because he was able to think to himself. He's looking at these great numbers and the increase, the multiplication of the people, and it's like, man, I can't govern these people by myself. I need some help. I need to bring some other wise brothers and set them as leaders over certain camps of people. Like, because if you think about it, and we'll see as we continue reading, it's going to talk about the numbers that they're in. And he knew it wasn't any way possible he could pay attention to intently. It's like as if we're talking in the modern day and age, and you have a congregation, and this congregation has 100 people in it, and you over this congregation, and then you got 100 more people, and you have personal relationship with this first 100, but this second 100, you're not even familiar with a lot of these people. So there's a personal relationship that's missing, and it's going to cause people to err because they don't have those people that can redirect them when they're going on the opposite side of what's right. But yeah, I call praise to the Most High.
God, all praise to the Most High. And yeah, and again, even when you look at verse 11, you see that this is actually in verse 11 when it says, the Lord God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he has promised. That's actually Moses requesting, or more so petitioning, that the Most High continue to increase them, 1,000-fold, and bless them according, to the promise of our fathers, or that he made with our fathers. And I think that's just a beautiful point. And I appreciate you adding on, King, as well.
Khan.
If you can, just read down 12 through 14.
Khan. How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance and your burden and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And ye answered me and said, the thing which thou hast spoken is good for us to do.
Khan. So within this pericope, Moses, he explains why he could not bear them by himself. And he mentions their burdens, the disputes, and strife had increased along their population. And so that's why within the law, as you read it and you can see the themes and the motif, you'll see that the law, it requires order, or else, all of these people just growing and rising up, there's going to be a lot of disorder. Hence, why we deal with a lot of our issues now. And all praises to the Most High, this point came forth because I meant to start off with this scripture. I was telling you this.
You did.
Yeah, I meant to start off with this scripture, but all praises to the Most High brought it back to the forefront. If you could just read for me Psalm 11 and verse 2 through 3 in the NLT.
The wicked are stringing their bows and fitting their arrows on the bowstrings. They shoot from the shadows at those whose hearts are right. The foundations of law and order have collapsed. What can the righteous do?
So essentially, when the foundations of law and order have collapsed, meaning basically what, like the order that's supposed to be brought forth towards a society, when those things, have now collapsed, and that's not really the overwhelming accepted standard anymore, then what's going to happen is chaos is going to ensue. And so, Moses, who was the man of the Most High, he's able to perceive this early on. In fact, when you read in the book of Exodus, the 18th chapter, we see that Moses, he's able to perceive this. And so we see that Moses's father-in-law suggests the concept of a council of elders to help with matters of the nation, right? And this is to help keep things in line and in order, right? And as you see within verse 13, Moses, it says that he instructed each tribe to bring forward wise, understanding, and known men, meaning men with, with proven character and reputation within their tribes. And this was to help promote order within the nation. And as you look at verse 14, it shows that, the people they agreed with the decision. And again, this mirrors the counsel that Moses received in the book of Exodus 18, is also a retelling of that, but also the later standard that was formalized again in the book of Numbers, the 11th chapter, where we see the 70 elders instituted, right? So just wanted to highlight these particular points, just to show that, like, again, the law is is um is a document of order, and a lot of times people that aren't familiar with it, that don't read it, something they'll say is, well, how is this going to help us structure our society today? Well, bro, if you just sit and read the law slowly, all of these things are covered, because literally the law of the Most High was to instruct our people on how to conduct ourselves within the land as a society. So the law is perfect for that, and this is just another highlighted point to showcase that. But you got any points, King?
Con, in verse 14, the response of the brothers and sisters is, it's good for them to do. They understood the importance of having someone to govern them in the laws of the Most High. And I think this kind of makes it worse for them going forward when we see that they disobey and they turn away from the laws of the Most High when they knew it was good for them to do. So yeah, all praise to the Most High.
God, all praise to the Most High. Beautiful point. God, we can continue on. You can read 15 through 16. And Slaga, before you read, if anybody ever has any questions or anything that they lost on or anything like that, y'all could drop a 2, or y'all could just drop the question at any point in time. But you can read 15 through 16.
So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him.
So you see that Moses, he took the heads of the tribes and appointed them as commanders or chiefs in some translations. It says over thousands, over hundreds, over 50s, over 10s, along with the officers. And these officers, they functioned as administrators or judges. And you kind of see this concept similarly, as like overseers, as the overseers that were mentioned in the book of Exodus, specifically when you read in the 5th chapter. But, our people, we were in Egypt, but they played a similar role, but just on the right-hand side. This time it was for righteous governance versus captivity amongst the heathen. But, we had administrators and people that helped solve matters and issues, especially within, law and things like that amongst ourselves. So we had that type of thing going on. And then as you continue on within verse 16, it speaks about how Moses, he charged these particular leaders to hear disputes between brothers. And within the Hebrew, when you actually look at what the Hebrew is conveying, is dealing with, making a distinction or a separation between matters. And then, it's speaking about to judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the stranger that is within him. So these particular judges / officers, they were to keep justice among the people, right? And you can see this earlier on within the Torah, like really like right out the gate when you read in the book of Exodus. And real quick, we could grab that real quick just to look at the witness. But this is something that's heavily spoken of in the Torah, just keeping, making sure to maintain justice amongst the people. And unfortunately, this was something that, we did, tend to struggle with as a people. And even up until this day, we sometimes struggle with this particular issue as far as maintaining justice amongst our people. But if you can, good brother, just read for me Exodus chapter 23, and you can read verses 1 through 3. You on mute, King.
I was reading mighty over here too. This is Exodus 23, starting at verse 1. Thou shalt not take up a false report. Put not thy hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to turn aside after a multitude to wrest justice. Neither shalt thou favor a poor man in his cause.
So the standard right out the gate, is proper conduct, especially within cases of law between our people. And Moses wrote not to wrest judgment nor favor the poor. And this is referring to the concept of being lenient because of a person's circumstance. Because again, if somebody is wicked, then they're supposed to be judged adequately, regardless of the situation. And again, there are particular nuances of law, and the elders, they have to consult one another and look at the nuances and things like that. But if there's somebody, and we can try to make it like we can bring it to like our days, or something that's more contemporary to us. If you have somebody that is a repeated offender, so to speak, say that they're into grape, right? They're into that type of thing, and they just continuously do it without any remorse, without anything like that. But you see that person, they're real bad on their luck. They're poor. They don't got no money. You're not to look at that person and say, well, you know what, man? Listen, he down on his luck, man. He ain't doing so good. Like, we gotta cut him some slack, bro. No, you don't gotta cut him no slack
at all.
Like, and again, that's that's the point, and that's maintaining justice. Don't and again, and it's gonna flip it on the other side as well when you continue to read on, and also within the other places we read this within the Torah, it flips it, on the other side as far as the rich, and then it juxtaposes it with the poor. So neither side is to be looked at favorably for whatever their lifestyle or circumstance is if they're guilty of doing wrong. Real quick, can you read from me verses 6 through 8?
Con. Thou shalt not wrest the justice due to thy poor in his cause. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not. For I will not justify the wicked, and thou shalt take no bribe. For a bribe blindeth them that have sight, and perverteth the words of the righteous. Sound like the industry to me.
Hey, that's a heavy point, King. But right there, that expresses the point even further. Especially in verse 7, because it says, "For I will not justify the wicked." So again, like, we have to make sure, and again, this was a particular job within our community, but there was a such thing as placing your hands to forward wickedness. And so you could do that from a place of authority and power, and you could also do that from a place of being the bystander that witnessed certain things, so on and so forth. Regardless of whatever role you play, you're not supposed to partake in justifying the wicked, because that's not what the Most High does. And we're supposed to emulate and be as he is. Right. But if you got any points, King, you can bring it out.
Just we looking at this and observing this, we see how important judgment is in general. Mm-hmm. That, and I think, did we read that verse yet about if something's too hard for you, bring it to me? Verse 17. We didn't get there yet.
No, we didn't get to 17 yet.
But yeah, just looking at all the details about judgment and how we're supposed to judge is very important that we do so righteously, because the Most High, he's not dealing with us judging in unrighteousness. And we just saying, you know what? I'm going to say that brother did this, or I'm going to judge him off of this matter because I don't like him, or whatever it may be, because I gave the exact opposite of just saying you looking at someone and, or they look dirty, or they're poor, and you saying, nah, well, I'm gonna have some mercy on him. And then you got those that, because of somebody's appearance, that may judge wickedly based off of how they look and not liking that person. So we can't have feelings involved in judgment. We just got to judge strictly based off what the Most High says and how he tells us to judge. But yeah, you got it.
Excellent point. Beautiful point, King. Let's jump back to Deuteronomy 1. You could read verses 17 through 18.
Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God's. And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which ye should do.
And a quick point that I want to make mention of is that, Moses, he explicitly forbids partiality and judgment. That's what respecting persons is going into. And when you look at that root that's used, is 5234 in the Hebrew language. It's nakar, and I believe this is in the hefil stem, which is dealing with causative. And when you look at this particular word, this is actually in reference to conveying or is conveying treating someone as strange, or causing someone to be treated as strange. And again, what this would do is it would cause unjust rulings, right? So our leaders, we were commanded to not fear faces, regardless of great or small, because again, as we looked at in Exodus 23, the Most High, he's not gonna, acquit the wicked, and he's not, gonna declare anybody guilty that's actually innocent, so we can't cause anybody to be looked at as strange, and now we're gonna rule them unjustly, or the opposite, because we don't know them, we think they're a certain way. Now we're gonna have be real lenient with them, and they really deserve the punishment of the guilty. That's again dealing with this particular point. But as you look at in verse 18, Moses, he confirms that he instructed them in all matters, that they, of what they were to do. And he established that, Israel, they weren't lacking instruction. So the only thing that we really see the Israelites lacking is obedience to the instruction that they were given from the Most High. You can see that all throughout the Torah, but as you read within the Torah, it's really not much that isn't covered as far as, things of justice and judgment, things of, even the dietary law, different civil matters, etc. Like all of these things are shown, all of these things were given, all of these things were spoken of. But, only issue that we really had was our lack of faithfulness and obedience toward the instruction. But if you got any points, Ken, you could bring it out.
Verse 17, and I'll read it again. It says, ye shall not respect persons in judgments, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God's, and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. Now, we just got through reading about how serious it is to not be a respect of persons, to not judge unrighteously. And then we see that the Most High is saying, hey, if there is some type of questioning in your judgment, and you like questioning, how should I judge this matter? And you kind of confused and you don't want to get it wrong. It says, go to him and he will hear it. Mm-hmm. And we should be using this understanding in daily life, because you're always going to run into and face questions and problems, and it's going to be questionable. And you're going to be questioning, like, how should I handle this? How should I speak to this person that may have offended me, somebody that may have done something that I deem as disrespectful? How should I respond? Because I can respond a way that can take this thing, it can turn up 10 times pressure and heat than what it should if I respond the wrong way. But I can still respond in a firm way, but in a way that won't heighten the situation, but that person can know I don't play. So it's like, how do we take this and apply it in our everyday life? We should apply it in all things when we're questioning ourselves, when we're dealing with different things in our life. Let's go to Jeremiah 33.
Come on.
And let's read verse 3.
Come on. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 33 and verse 3. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not.
Right. It's that simple. If we call, he's going to answer us, and he's going to show us the things that we don't know. We know that also that comes with stipulations. We're supposed to be being obedient so we can actually be heard by him in prayer. But knowing how important it is to judge situations even with our own self, not just judging your brothers and your sisters, but judging your own situations is very important, because that can cause you to do wickedly if you're judging a matter within yourself or within your household incorrectly. But yeah, you got it.
Excellent point. Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful wisdom in and of itself. One of the points you gave, because I believe it's in Iraq where it speaks about how like a fire can be ignited via whether you blow it, or it could be put out if you quench it with water, roughly paraphrasing. But both of these things come from the tongue. So it's a lot of wisdom in, like, even within the law, and even like the examples of mercy being displayed, within the handlers of the law, specifically the Messiah himself, and how he taught out of the Torah. But all of these things, they're Torah-based concepts. You find it there, but it's through the wisdom that the Most High places within a person, that they're able to understand how to utilize, what's actually lawful to do, or exercise what's actually lawful. But excellent point, King.
Right.
Let's we jump back to Deuteronomy chapter 1. You can read 19 through 21.
Said 19 through 21.
King.
And when we departed from Horeb, we went through all that great and terrible wilderness, which ye saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorites, as Yahweh our power commanded us, and we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said unto you, ye are come unto this mountain, unto the mountain of the Amorites, which Yahweh your power doth give unto us. Behold, Yahweh your power have set the land before thee. Go up and possess it, as Yahweh your power of the power of thy fathers have said unto thee. Fear not, neither be discouraged.
So like, as you see within these particular verses, Moses, he recalls their departure from Horeb, traveling through a great and terrible wilderness, as the scripture talks about. And then it says that they arrived at Kadesh Barnea, at the edge of the Amorite hill country. And then, as you go through the following verses, it says that Moses reminds them that the Most High clearly presented or set the land before them, and commanding them to go up and possess it, explicitly telling them not to fear or be discouraged. And this is basically a rehearsal of what's happening within the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter, where you see the account of our people spying out the land. As you even see right here, it gives you the.
You just cut out unless it's on my end. Y'all put a 1 in the chat if y'all could still hear him talking, or 2 if you couldn't. Oh, you did cut out, huh?
Yeah, and it's so crazy. It's showing me on the screen.
Yeah,
But
I seen that. That's why I was like, that's weird.
it was Salakia. But now the last point I was making was as you read within specifically in verses 20 through 21, you see that Moses, he reminds them that the Most High, he presented or set the land before them, and he commanded them to go up and possess it. So he makes it explicit that they're supposed to go possess the land. They're not to be fearful or discouraged. And this is basically rehearsing the account that's found within Numbers, the 13th chapter. And as I was trying to show up here, it actually gives you the cross reference on like where to read all of this information at. And again, this will be something that we go into, much further. But as we read throughout these next several verses, Moses is actually going to detail just a history or a retelling of what happened and why we got to this particular point and why the Most High was grieved with that generation that was initially brought out of Egypt. But you got any points, King, before I move on?
La.
Kind of all praises. So you could jump to 22 through 23.
Con. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, we will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. And the saying pleased me well. And I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe.
God. So the people, they approached Moses with the proposal to send spies ahead to search out the land and report back. Right. So again, that was their plan to go out and spy out the land that the Most High was gonna bless them with. He said he presented it to them, or he placed it before them to go and take. But as you see in verse 23, Moses, he said that the plan that seemed good in his eyes, and he took 12 men of each tribe, and they were to go and spy out the land. I think when you read in the account within Numbers, the 13th chapter, it lays out all of the spies that were there, and it mentions Joshua the son of Nun. That also mentions Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which he was a Judite. But these were the two, and as we're gonna read on, we're gonna see it. These were the two that actually acted within faithfulness, but the rest of the people, as it kind of touched on earlier, they acted in disbelief. And this is how the Most High he ended up being grieved with our people, amongst other reasons as well. But that was one of the biggest things. You got any points, King? Let's jump to 24 through 28.
God. And they turned and went up into the mountain and came into the valley of Eshcol and searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again and said, it is a good land which Yahweh our power doth give us. Notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh your power. And ye murmured in your tents, and said, because Yahweh hated us, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our heart, saying, the people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven. And moreover, we have seen the son of the Anakims there.
God. And as you read in that account in Numbers 13, they were like it's hard for me to describe it any other way. They were faithless, those people were faithless, and they're just describing that, especially with their, like their view of the Anakim. They seem to be, let's just say, scared. You know what I'm saying? But as you read within those verses, we see the spies, they explored the land. They went into the valley of Eshcol, and they returned with fruit, confirming that the land of the Most High was indeed good. But despite acknowledging the goodness of the land, these particular people, they refused to go up and they rebelled against the Most High, and they focused on the strength and size of the inhabitants, specifically the Anakim. And again, this, caused them, to have a distorted perception, of their faith within the Most High. And this caused them to reject the Lord's commandment. And then, we end up seeing what befalls them in Numbers, the 14th chapter. But let's continue on, because we're gonna get there a little bit later. You can read 29 through 33 unless you got a point.
Con, I was just gonna make a point that just the way that they speaking about, like in verse 27, it says, "And ye murmured in your tents and said, because Yahweh hated us, he have brought us forth out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us." So after all the things that Yahweh did for them, basically they saying, hey, he's setting us up. He's been setting us up the whole time to bring us out here for these people to kill us. And overall, when you look at it, like the way that they looking at it, this lack of faith, it means that they believe that these men are so great and so tall that they bigger than their God. And it's just crazy. Like, you worried about the height and the stature of these people, but you've seen Yahweh do what he's done. You've seen him, rescue you. You've seen him destroy men, but you're scared of these people. And another thing is this word, the Anakims. Mm-hmm. This is where they get this theory of the Anunnaki from. These people. The same thing with the Nephilim. They tie all these people together and they say that there are the Anunnaki and they're gonna come back one day and all that stuff like that. And basically they deify these people who we see in the book of Deuteronomy and in the book of Numbers. They deify these people and they make them like some aliens, like alien gods. And they try to say that this is who the God of the world is. That's the Anunnakis. But yeah, it comes from the Anakim and the Nephilim. But yeah, that's it. Just wanted to kind of make some points on that.
Kind of excellent wisdom. Appreciate it, King. And Salaki, I'm just seeing this too. That's in the chat. It's from a few minutes ago.
That was that was when you went out when I asked everybody.
Oh, okay. Con, all praises. Yeah, but beautiful points, King. Appreciate it.
All praises.
So we just left off at 28, so we can go through 29 through 33.
Then I said unto you, dread not, neither be afraid of them. Yahweh your power, which goeth before you, he shall fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes, and in the wilderness, where thou hast seen how that Yahweh your power bare thee, as a man doth bear his son, in all the way that ye went until ye came into this place. Yet in this thing ye did not believe Yahweh your power, who went in the way before you, to search you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way ye should go, and in a cloud by day.
So I'm gonna make this point. I'm not gonna go to the passage, but this is like a Torah-based class, but I was just thinking about this passage in the book of Hebrews, where it says that the children of Israel in the wilderness, they heard the gospel, but it didn't profit them, not being mixed with faith. And if you just slowly read the Torah, you'll be able to perceive why the author said that, because it's abundantly clear that this was a people in whom was lacking faith. I think you even read that in the book of Deuteronomy 32, within the Song of Moses. So, I think like when I read these things back, it sticks out. It sticks out to me even more. And again, it gives a justification on why certain New Testament writers, they have concepts and thoughts and why they're saying certain things that they're saying. But as you read through this particular passage, it shows that Moses, he's recalling, encouraging them not to fear and reminding them that the Most High himself would fight for them, just as he did in Egypt. So off the heels of them being afraid in Numbers, the 13th chapter, Moses, again, he's encouraged, he had encouraged them and told them not to fear because the Most High would fight for them. And we see that Moses, within the pericope, it shows that Moses, he emphasized how the Most High carried them as a father carries his son, and went before them in fire by night and cloud by day, and continually showed them the way that they should go. But despite all of this, they didn't have faith in the Most High God. And that was the biggest issue of our people. We heard all of the gospel, to come from, the Most High and the man of the Most High, which would have been Moses. But, we still didn't internalize it and believe and act accordingly. So again, this is just, emphasizing on that point. But you got anything to add, King?
I just can't see myself being one of those that had that lack of faith. I think I would have been one of the ones that like, man, y'all tripping. Y'all ain't seen what y'all.
Right.
Like, y'all losing it, man. Tighten up. You ain't got no faith. Like, that's all come to my head when I read this passage, and you put yourself, like, you envision yourself in this day and age and actually seeing the Most High move in your favor. And like, even today, like, we able to see the Most High work in our favor in a smaller sample size because we're not able to see the miraculous things that they saw. But it's certain things, like, I ain't gonna specifically speak about certain things in my life that I've seen, but I see stuff like a lot that the Most High be doing, and I know it's just him, and I'm never worried about anything, and he always works it out. And that's because I have the faith. I believe he's gonna do it. I honestly just trust him and know he's gonna do it. And it also goes back to, I keep the laws of the Most High. I'm not walking around here practicing no sin. Regardless of what somebody may say, oh, you can't keep the laws. I can. I'm not going around and just habitually sinning. I'm not going around purposely sinning. If I sin, it's by mistake, and I'm going to repent because I didn't mean to do that. So when it comes to me being in a situation, I trust the Most High because I know he's going to work it out for me. So that's why I look at this passage. I'm like, what's really going through their mind, or what's going on personally in their personal lives? Are they actually keeping the laws of the Most High? Because why are you doubting? Why is your faith not in Yahweh to do the things that he's always done and that he says he's going to do? But yeah.
Hey, that's a great point. And I was thinking about this time, just not to deviate too far, but I was thinking about this time when I was in college and my car broke down. And mind you, I'm working part-time at a job that's paying super minimum wage in Maryland. And and I'll never forget it. This was like maybe mid-February. Remember, this is mid-February. And what ended up happening was my car breaks down mid-February, and I'm letting my one of my friends I went to college with at the time, I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna be able to pick you up. I don't even know how I'm gonna get to class myself. I gotta figure it out. I'm gonna have to spend all my bread on Ubers or whatever the case is. And like you jump in an Uber, you jump in a Lyft, whatever the case, it might, depending on where you're going, you're gonna burn like $18 pretty much each trip. Right. If you're prudent enough with like coupons, you might be able to beat that. But a lot of times, that's how much I would have been spending. And I just remember even myself at that time, and this is before like I'm like teaching the Bible. I believe in the Bible wholeheartedly, and I read it and things like that. I'm Torah observant, obviously, but I just remember having this calm about the whole situation, and I really didn't like tangibly know where I was gonna get a car and how my situation was gonna turn. Like I'm dead set. Like in I think my first year in college, like I'm not about to graduate. Like no, like I got months and months before like I'm gonna be done. And so I just I continued on to remain encouraged. I didn't worry myself because something I realized as a younger person was a lot of times we can worry ourselves about certain things that just honestly outside of our control anyways. So what that'll do to you is that'll that'll bring more stress upon you. You got the situation and you're glorying within that problem, and now it's like, well, now I got double issues. Now I'm feeling worked up because I got this issue, and then now I still got this issue.
All right.
So it's just you
Ain't
just piling,
nothing.
ain't changing nothing. So long story short, what ended up happening was, shout out to my aunt. One day I get a bright idea to just reach out to her. I'm like, hey auntie, how's everything going? And so I asked her, for some deals on cars where, because she worked at a particular car dealership. And she was like, listen, that's gonna be out of your budget. But what I'm gonna do for you is this. I'm gonna give this to you and I'm gonna make sure you can get a car. And that's how the Most High worked it out. Like I didn't know where it was gonna come from. I had, spoken to family, certain family members couldn't help me out, whatever the case was. But the Most High, He played. I believe He led me to that particular option. I spoke to that person, and that person was very gracious. And so I say all of that to say that, regardless of the situation, the Most High can work it out. And so that's why I never fear any giant that's placed, in front of me or within my midst, because I know that for the giant that I feel like is the biggest, the Most High is taking down giants 10 times their size. So just a quick point on that, but I appreciated what you brought out, because that's the faith I've had, and it has been supplemented within me, because I've seen the Most High do excellent and marvelous things based upon the scriptures, and then also within my real life. And so just you seeing those particular signs, that should prompt you to believe when the Most High says, listen, this is yours. I got you. I'm gonna fight for you. You shouldn't be like, I don't know. I don't know. You shouldn't act like that. You know what I'm saying? But
That's like, it's like acting like he lying.
Right. Right. For real. But Khan, it'd be a beautiful point. I'm glad you highlighted that.
God, I'll praise it.
Khan, let's continue on. We can jump down 34 through 38.
Khan. And Yahweh heard the voice of your words and was wroth, and swear, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear to give unto your fathers, except for, or save, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he hath trodden upon, and to his children, because he hath wholly followed the Lord. And also Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, saying, thou also shalt not go in thither. But Joshua, the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it.
Khan. So this is the judgment that's pronounced upon that generation. And you can read this particular account in the book of Numbers, the 14th chapter. You know what? Let's go into it, because as you look at it, it's detailing how the Most High heard their grumbling and swore that none of that generation would see the good land that was promised to their fathers But he singles out Caleb, who wholly followed the Most High, and he had faith in that account, and also Joshua, who was, eventually he was appointed the leader of that next generation to go into the land. So we even see that the Most High is upset with Moses because Moses, he got vexed with the people within their time in the wilderness. But especially, just dealing with Numbers 14, our people, man, I wasn't gonna go to this, but it's a point in this that's just diabolical.
What book?
Numbers, Numbers 14.
Oh God, yeah.
God. Yeah, so within the book of Numbers 14, it actually shows that the people, they wanted to stone Caleb and Joshua. Like it shows that, and this grieved Moses, and I believe it says it grieved Aaron. But just even here, if you could read verse 3 real quick.
And wherefore have Yahweh brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt?
So there's a quick point on that, because this is touched on within Deuteronomy Chapter 1, where it's and I think matter of fact, the next part we go into in Deuteronomy 1, it'll touch on it, but they were asking this. They were saying, like, has the Most High brought us unto this land to fall by the sword? Our wives, our children, they're gonna be a prey. Like, wouldn't it be better for us to return back to Egypt? And as you look at the book of Deuteronomy, but also the accounts within the Torah, the Most High, he's like, well, you know what? Okay, you're not gonna enter into the land. How about that? You're not gonna enter into the land. It's like they're mocking and scoffing the Most High, and they're like, man, the Most High brought us out here to get destroyed and gonna make our children and our wives pray. Like, and again, and it's speaking to that disbelief and that faithlessness, that the chapter just continuously touches on. But real quick, I want to jump down to this in Numbers 14. We get to the point, verses 30. You can read all the way down to 34.
God. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children, shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise.
So right there, that's literally the judgment pronounced, and it showed that we went out to spy the land for 40 days, and our conduct, specifically them in that generation, their conduct in response to the search, because it in Deuteronomy 1, it we read earlier on how they were afraid, and so our conduct and our fearfulness caused us to have a judgment pronounced on us. For those 40 days we went and searched, for each day a year we're going to be in the wilderness. And so this would, make known unto us the Most High's, it says the breach of promise, or the alienation that, the Most High was placing upon, our people, because again, he was angry. Like, we had provoked him because of our unfaithfulness. And that's what happened in regard. When you read in the book of Numbers, not Numbers, but Psalm, the 95th chapter, it speaks about how we provoke them constantly within the wilderness. And, with this people, he was grieved. Like these particular instances, they grieved the Most High. And as a result of, the grief that we, caused toward the Most High, they didn't get to enter into the land. But, Caleb and Joshua and the next generation got to enter into that land that was promised to their fathers. So he didn't totally just get rid of our people. But, that particular generation that did evil and did wrong in the sight of the Most High, it was over for them. You got any points, King?
Yeah, man. Like just looking back at what they said and how they felt, they thought that the Most High brought them out there to die in the wilderness. They spoke that out of their mouth. And he lets them know that, yeah, you gonna die in the wilderness. But it isn't because I brought you out here to die in the wilderness, you and your children. And he lets them know that your children ain't gonna die in the wilderness, like you pronounced that's gonna happen to them. And it says in verse 41. 31. 31, I think it was. Yeah. It says, but your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. So the Most High, just his judgment, when you think about his judgment and his mercy, it's just excellent for real, because the little ones, the children, they didn't have anything to do with what the adults were doing and how they were looking at things and their disobedience. They just children. And they learning from the parents of what to do. And they don't really know what's going on. So they're innocent in the situation as far as the decisions that are being made and just the awareness of what's going on. So they don't have to die in the wilderness like the adults will. That generation, or they're going to perish in the wilderness, but the younger generation is going to actually have a chance to get to know the Most High and be obedient to him, because that's just only fair. And then when you look at it, he says in verse 33, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. So the children still have to deal with the effects of the decisions of the parents. It's the same thing with us today. Our children, the bad decisions we made before we started to keep the laws of the Most High, before we started to be obedient, our children have to deal with the consequences to our actions. And it's the same as far as if we're obedient now and we have the blessings, they get the benefit from the blessings. So even though these children were not the absolute decision makers in the wilderness, they still have to deal with the whoredoms of the fathers and mothers. So I just looking at this, just seeing the Most High's justice, his law and his order, is just amazing, because if we had that understanding that he's going to be fair in his judgment, we know, hey, we reap what we sow. We're going to get back whatever we put in. So all praise to the Most High, and it's been a beautiful lesson so far, King.
All praise to the Most High. Beautiful points. Excellent points laid out, King.
All praises.
Let's jump back to 39 through 40.
And okay, yeah, we're back in Deuteronomy 1. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn you and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea.
And the Lord said, take y'all's behinds back into the wilderness. Y'all are not going to enter into the land. And we just went through it in Numbers 14, the judgment that was pronounced, on how we wouldn't, or how that particular generation wouldn't go into the land. But the children that, that they were so concerned for, the wives that they were so concerned for, they would go into the land.
Right.
But not them themselves that scoffed the Most High God. But that's just, again, emphasizing that same point that we went into in Numbers 14. If you got any points, you could bring them out. Well, you could read verse 41 if not.
Just the illustration in my head. Just man, turn around, going back into the wilderness.
Right.
Everybody else come on in. Like, getting rejected, man. And it just even with the kingdom, with receiving the kingdom, we know that the Most High, his son, has already said that it's gonna be people, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy your name? Get away from me, you who work iniquity, you who break God's laws. The same thing. We see this right here in Deuteronomy chapter 1, that he's turning those away from going into the promised land because they were disobedient to the Most High. But yeah, all praises.
Excellent point. All praises.
Verse 41.
Con.
Then ye answered and said unto me, we have sinned against Yahweh. We will go up and fight according to all that Yahweh our God commanded us. And when ye had girded on every man his weapons of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill.
Hey, that's madness.
It's modern day Christianity. That's what that is. God, he's still here.
But it's like I like to I get this example, right? How you could give like a really significant instruction to your child, and this really could be the difference between, let's say, livelihood or the opposite. And your child, they just disregard it, right? And they just, and you keep, and over time, you've been patient with them, you've been merciful with them, but it's like this is the last straw. And it's like, it's not that you hate them at this point, but it's too late. It's too late to rectify things. And so you see that, they're acknowledging that they've sinned against the Most High. And now they want to turn and say, oh, no, we're going to go up and fight. No, we're going to obey the commandment now. Because the commandment was to go up and go and take the land, go possess it. But, they murmured. They even went as far as to try to stone Caleb and Joshua. But now, after all of that, now they want to turn around and, after they've heard the judgment, mind you, now they want to turn and say, oh, well, no, we'll go and fight. We can go do it. But now it's too late at this point. The Lord has said, no, you're not going to enter. And this is why you see what you see in the next verse. You can read verse 42.
And just a point also, and this is also proof that there's you have to have proof and fruit of repentance. You can't just, oh, God, forgive me, and then think your whole situation just turns around. Nah, he wants to see repentance before you can actually be accredited that repentance for him to wipe away that sin. But verse 42 out. And Yahweh said unto me, say unto them, go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemy.
So the Lord, he responds to them and says, no, don't go and fight, because I'm not going to be with you.
Right.
Hey, but at least, at the very least, the Lord, he kind of let them know, hey, I ain't going to be in that.
Right.
Because
that's some mercy.
That's some mercy, because he could have just not said nothing. All right.
Right.
And then they went on and they got themselves tore up, and the Lord ain't warned them or nothing.
Right.
At least the Lord let them know, hey, I'm not going to be with you. I'm not fighting for you. This is your enemy is going to win.
Right.
God, but you can continue on verse. You read verse 43.
I'm gonna grab
go ahead.
Scripture also. Let's go to Psalm 27. So y'all, with these law and order lessons, we won't be going into the New Testament. Mainly, we'll stay in the Torah and Tanakh, law and the prophets. But we'll also go into the Psalms sometimes whenever it's befitting. Psalm 27. I'll read verses 1 through 3.
God, this is the book of Psalm, chapter 27, starting at verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this I will be confident.
It says the Lord is my light and my salvation. Y'all remember one of the gospel songs that go like that? Whom shall I fear? Lord is the strength of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart should not fear. The war should rise against me. In this will I be confident. They couldn't be confident in this because the Most High is already telling them, nah, I'm not going to fight for you. Your enemy's going to kick your butt if you go up there and try to fight them because you've been disobedient to me. And let me see. I wanted another one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think is it? Yeah, okay. I think it just reads different. Yeah, it don't read like I was looking for it to read, but it's verse 3. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise against me, and this will I be confident. That no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And when you look at it from the point of what we're reading in Deuteronomy 1, that weapon ain't gonna prosper only if you're obedient. So even with that song, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, there's context to that. You can't just sing that song and get all emotional and think that's gonna work for you, regardless of what you're doing in your life, because that weapon's gonna prosper if you're being disobedient and you place yourself in a situation where you can be harmed, just like our ancestors were about to do. But yeah, we can get back to it unless you want to make a point on that.
No, that's a great point. And you know, just like a general point, just based upon that, you know, you do have a lot of people that I'll say they have like a certain delusion on them to where they believe that they can conduct themselves any old type of way, you know, in regard to the keeping of the commandments or not keeping the commandments, and the Lord will still be with them. You know, like a lot of people, they do feel as if, and this is really because of the misunderstanding of grace. You know, as a brother goes into a lot, you know, a lot of people, they feel as if grace affords them the opportunity to always have God on their side. But, you know, as you end up reading just within the Torah and then also throughout the rest of the Bible, you know, the Most High, he gets to a point where, you know, you're going to have to pay for what you did. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be some repercussions, you know, for your actions or lack thereof, you know, so just wanted to add that point in. Kind of, but you could read, and we could close it out. You could read 43 on down to 46.
So I spake unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Amorites, which dwelt in that mountain, came out against you and chased you as bees do. Oh, man. And destroyed you in Seir, even until Hormah. And you returned and wept before Yahweh. But Yahweh would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So ye abode in Kadesh many days, according to the days that ye abode there. Boy, they got their butt tore up. Man.
God. Yeah, man. But it's really bringing it up, because when you start back at verse 43, it showed how, you know, how the Most High spoke unto you, or he spoke unto us, but we would not hear the commandment, but we rebelled against it. Talking about that generation that that was in the wilderness that, again, call themselves so-called being remorseful. And now they want to turn around and go and fight, but it's too late by this point. You should have fought when the Lord commanded you. Right. And as we read throughout the preceding verses, they ended up losing to this set of Amorites. They ended up losing, and after a while, they were able to win these battles underneath the generation of Joshua, etc. But at this particular time, this generation, they didn't enter in. So they weren't able to partake in that particular that particular territory because the Lord wasn't dealing with them. Right. So, again, that's pretty much the ending of Deuteronomy chapter 1. And even at the at verse 46, where Moses is speaking to the children of Israel, that's where they abode until the end of their days. They didn't get to cross over the threshold, so to speak, to go into the land. They didn't make it into there. But that the children of that generation, they got to set up those territories. They got to inhabit those places, those cities, those towns, etc. But the initial generation that came out of Egypt, they didn't get to experience those things. They died in the wilderness. But all praises to the Most High. That's Deuteronomy chapter 1. And this has been Law and Order, the balance of the people. All praises to the Most High, for us being able to kick this off, going to the law, so on and so forth. But I yield to you, brother, if you have anything you want to go into, King.
Man, all praise to the Most High. Beautiful lesson. I just think, even like just looking at the end of this lesson and seeing how the Most High had already told them, don't go up to that mountain and fight them people, and they went anyway. It just goes to show how stiff-necked we are as a people, and we still see it today with those in the truth or not in the truth. Still being stiff-necked, still doing things that we shouldn't do as a people, not trying to excel, to be excellent and be better than we were. So, just continue, everybody, make sure you continue to examine yourself like we always talk about. Make sure you're continuing to better yourself, that you're looking at yourself and you're saying, how can I be better? What am I doing wrong? What flaw do I have that the Most High won't be pleased with? Am I allowing my flesh to get in the way of the fruits of the Spirit and the Spirit in general? So, I think this is just a beautiful lesson that shows the characteristics of our people. And we have those characteristics, but that's just the flesh, and we got to be able to deny the flesh on a daily basis. So all praise to the Most High. This was an excellent lesson and a beautiful way to kick off this new series, Law and Order, the Balance of the People. And if you haven't already, if y'all just joining, if you late joining, please make sure you like, share the video, and also comment. All praise to the Most High.
God, all praise to the Most High. God, man, if there'll be nothing else, man, we'll close it out. Numbers 6 and 24 on down. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'll say, Shalom.
Shalom, Mark. Shalom, family. Together we can do anything. I'm sick of seeing my people fail, that's on everything. Either we gon' stand up for something or fall for anything. If the prison our only option, we don't wanna change.
Understanding of grace, we're being treated just like slaves. From the womb to the tomb, this has got to change. My understanding of grace, hey look, are you adding to the pain? From the womb to the tomb, this has got to change.
It ain't for everybody. 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 Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many are called, but few get chosen.